Hello, welcome to Camera Crisis, where we second guess all of life's decisions. Now, it's exciting times here. We got not the A7S III, this is the A7 III, and it's fantastic, and I love it. I'm here to say that even though we're all tickled pink about the A7S III because it's the perfect camera, right? The perfect video camera, I think we can all admit that it makes great sense if you're a video shooter and that you're going to use that camera for video. Then sure, have at it. As long as you got millions of dollars, then you can buy that camera and you're set for video. But here's what I've been thinking. Like, I've been also watching a lot of the reviews of the A7C, just comparing it to my A7 III. You know, I want to see how much I should regret having the A7 III, and it's a lot. It's not. I'm glad I have the A7 III, and I'll tell you that in a minute. But first, I'm going to say that the A7C is a better choice for most people than the A7S III, and not just because of the hefty price tag. I don't know exactly, I'll put it on screen. The A7S III is this price American, the A7C is this price American, and this one should be less than this one. So the thing is, it's not just the price, think about it for a second. Do you like to travel? No, of course you don't. Who does? But sometimes your wife likes to travel and she drags you places. Now, I have 2 kids. I'm already taking just a truckload of stuff. You know, I am lucky if I can take 1 camera and 1 lens, and I mean lucky. The idea that you have to take a video camera and a stills camera, that's no good. So the idea is you take one, if you're going to take 1 camera, I mean, that'd be the one to take right there, unless you desperately need the 2 card slots. The A7C only has the 1 card slot, so if there's something fantastic happen, you know, like there's the birth of a baby who is also getting married, I mean, that's not something, you can't miss that. You know, your card corrupts, what are you gonna do? That's a rare event. So if you need your 2 card slots, then I get it. Maybe the A7C is not for you, but for most of us, all right, it's a family vacation. You know, the pictures that day got corrupted, you know, so what? The point is, it's got a flippy screen, so if you want to do, you know, some selfie vlogs, some selfie pictures, or whatever you want to do, you got that. It's got the 24 megapixel sensor, you know, and and I should say on the video side, there's a couple upgrades. Like, it's got that eye detect autofocus. I wish my A7 III had that. I wish they were able to do that in a firmware update. They can't, apparently. I don't know why, but they can do it on the A7C, and it's better at the autofocusing. So some people are complaining about the S-Log2 on the A7 III, but seemingly on the A7C, the S-Log2, it doesn't lose you, you know, because you got the eye tracking. So that's good. And apparently there's a couple of tweaks as well. Camera Conspiracies was showing that the actual profiles themselves, they look a little bit better on the A7C and the video modes than some of the profiles of the A7 III. Some of them are the same, and a couple of them look a little bit different. So what you have is a fantastic camera picture-wise and a fantastic camera video-wise that also has the flip-out screen that we're all hoping the A7 III would have. So why then would you not get that camera? You should, right? And you're like, yeah, but Mark, how about the 10 bits? There's 10 bits, 10 full bits. You know, and the A7C only, it's got the 8 bits. 8 bits are for garbage people who love to rummage in the garbage. I need the full 10 bits. Do ya? Okay, so I'm taping here on the GH5. Now, I still use the GH5 even though I have the A7 III. I use the GH5 a lot in my studio. It's my basement, and I use it here because I'm used to it. It has very good video functions. I don't need the autofocus, so I can just tap it on my phone and it shows my whole pretty face. And it's just a great camera for video specs as long as you're not using the autofocus and you don't need a super blurry background, because it's still micro four thirds, so it's not going to give you as blurry of a background as some of the, you know, sharper lenses on the full frame. That was this one. This one's a 1.7, so in Tony Northrup terms, that's a 3.4, right? Aperture, so 3.4. Some blur, not a ton of blur. I digress. What the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, the 10-bit thing. So I'll show you, this is 10-bit. I'm just shooting in 10-bit because I like to waste space on my hard drive. And I'll prove that, I think, by switching to 8-bit. I'll switch to 8-bit now and see if you can see any difference. If you can, my point is moot. Okay, so this is the 8-bit. I'll try to do a side-by-side screen of my face. Sorry, that's all I have for the video. My face versus my face in 10-bit. 8-bit, and I'll put 10-bit, okay? See any difference? Now I get it, you're saying I need the 10-bit because I'm gonna push the colors around a lot, I'm gonna do a lot of color grading, and the image is gonna fall apart with 8-bit, and that is probably true, but are you really gonna do that? I mean, I don't. I want to sometimes, and then I do it, and it's just, sometimes the tweaking of settings, if you set everything right in camera, that ends up looking better than if you try to do the craziest log footage and push and pull everything. And like I say, the data rates is higher, you know, the hard drive space, it takes up so much more. And for what? Is there a noticeable difference? In a lot of cases, there isn't. Now, if you're out there and you're thinking, I need all these things, then you already know you need these things, and you don't need to listen to a boob like me talk about it, because you know what you need. You need the 10-bit, and you need the cinema camera, and you need the built-in ND filters, or whatever else you need. But if we're talking about people like me, people who you like to make videos, you like to take pictures, then the best thing to get, as far as I can see, is the A7C or the A7 III, depending on what kind of life hacks you like to do. Like you may have noticed when I held it up, there's this weird little thing here, and that's a little mirror. That's all that is, and it's by Rig. You know, I'll link that below, and it gets the job done when you need to do the selfies. It's not fantastic, you know, because you kind of gotta angle it just the right way, but at least, because when you use the phone on the A7 III, I thought that was going to be the way that I'd be able to use the A7 III, you know, as if it had a flippy screen by using the app. But then that takes away face tracking when you do the app. Did you know that? Because that's just, unless I got that wrong, which I probably don't, because I'm a genius. Getting back to the color thing, some people are saying, yeah, but it's not just the 10-bit versus the 8-bit. The colors look much better coming out of the A7S III. Sony fixed their skin tones that they've always had a problem with. But for the A7 III and the A7C, depending on what you do, you can get some really good results. Like if you look at Gerald Undone, and he does an HLG3 with a BT 2020, that gets him some good results. And then Caleb Pike from DSLR Video Shooter, he showed a way to fix Sony colors by using S-Log2 and was it I709 or something like that. I'll link it below. I'm actually going to do a comparison video, I believe, of Gerald Undone's HL3 versus Caleb's S-Log2 with their tweaks to see which one I like better, and then maybe you guys can tell me what you think, which will probably be that I don't know what I'm doing, and please stop making videos, and I'll say no, it is too much fun. So what is one to do? Let's say you had infinite resources. You could buy the A7S III, use that as your primary video camera, and then you could have the A7 III as your primary stills camera. I think that is a fantastic setup. And when you go on a trip, that A7S III stays at home, and you take that A7 III because if you need to do video, you got it covered. You get that little Rig thing that you need, throw that in your camera bag. You take one lens, in case you're wondering here, I get the Tamron 28-75 2.8, and it's a great lens, and that way I can just leave it on the camera and then I'm good to go. If I need to film myself, I got that little mirror, and if I need to take pictures, no problem. 24 megapixels should be plenty. A7S III stays at home. But what if you're only going to buy one camera, which is the sensible thing to do, you know? You would get the A7C, I think. Like I say, unless you need that redundancy, unless you desperately need the 2-card slot, if you're doing pretty much what I do, filming videos, and then you go out and you take some pictures, you do some family stuff, the A7C, it seems like the best bang for your buck. You know, you got great video camera with the flippy screen. You have a great stills camera, you know, with the same sensors the A7 III. It's just, you know, it's the one to get. But what? I still want the A7S III. I also like the way it looks. I don't know. I still, that You know, those APS-C body looking ones with the flat tops, it's not for me. But hey, it's supposed to be a tool, right? Is that what Casey Neistat says? It's a tool to make your things right there. But I also love the cameras. I physically love them. Too much. See, the problem with the A7S III, as brilliant of a camera as it is you still need a stills camera if you want to take stills in any way that isn't just Instagrammy stuff, you know? So now, if you're going on trips, you got bags and bags of camera gear, and that's no good. There's a guy online, Marcus Pix. You know, I keep thinking about this guy because he's the type of fellow who can buy whatever he wants, and he generally does. He buys pretty much every camera, as far as I can see, on the market, but the ones he takes with him are the tiniest little cameras, usually some kind of Panasonic Micro Four Thirds camera. And it's gotten me thinking, you know, I always want the best of the best, but practically speaking, you know, you don't really want to take around a ton of gear when it comes down to it, you know, when it's hurting your shoulder. Like I often take my Panasonic G7, it's so light and so easy to swing around, and I don't care that much if it gets destroyed. Whereas cameras that cost thousands and thousands of dollars, if I'm going on a trip, I'm afraid that they're gonna get broken or stolen, and also I gotta lug around a ton of gear with them, you know? And you're not gonna use it as much. Anyway, this is what I've been thinking. Why don't you tell me what kind of setup that you're working with here and what your dream setup would be, because, you know, I'm trying to convince myself not to get it. I don't need it. It's ridiculous. I'm lucky. I have the things that I need. Still though, it's shiny, it's new. You know, they fixed the skin tones. I'm gonna get it. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening to me ramble. If you like this type of stuff, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell. I'm gonna do a bunch more videos where I talk about the things that I desperately want, but I shouldn't buy. See ya.